If you've been stuck in a loop of negative internal talk for years now, you may know what to do intellectually. You may know that it's happening intellectually, but you're still stuck emotionally. You know you should be kinder to yourself. You know the things to say to pull yourself out of the rabbit hole when you start going down it. Yet somehow, sometimes you still end up in that loop. I'm behind. Other people are doing better than me. I'm just not that good. This is never going to work. And there are so many different versions of that kind of talk. Hello, my name is Shuvra Deb, and I have been there. And in fact, some days I am just stuck there. For me, it's feeling that I'm not worthy unless I'm achieving or unless I have achieved. That's something that doesn't even speak to me in words. It's something that I just feel, and very often. It's that feeling of your value disappearing when you stop achieving. Like there's no inherent self worth or value unless you're achieving. And I also know logically where that comes from. It comes from a childhood where love was based on performance and reward and achievement and grades, and receiving the equivalent of applause when I said something clever or I did something clever. And with all of that, the way that's manifested for me in adult life, anyway, is that in spite of objectively knowing that I may be good at something, that I may have achieved something, that I may be successful, there's still that background feeling of feeling like I'm somehow not worthy or I don't deserve it, or those kinds of nagging bits of self doubt. And that, my friends, is where fact and fiction collide. So the fact is that you are capable, that you are achieving, that you have achieved. It's also a fact that you don't need to in order to feel worthy, in order to be worthy. However, the fiction bit comes in where our emotion gets pulled into it. And our emotion drives us to believe that there is a lack of self worth unless we're doing something, unless we're achieving. Even if we take rest, for example, I know this is quite a common one amongst quite a few of you, amongst my clients, certainly, where people beat themselves up if they rest. You feel like you don't deserve it, you feel like you're wasting time. With the whole needing to have evidence of having achieved something, this showed up for me quite recently. Within the last 12 months, I had my aha moment, my no shit, Sherlock moment around this as I was standing in my kitchen boiling the kettle. It suddenly just dropped in my head, seemingly out of nowhere, but it's something that I've been thinking on and meditating over and doing a lot of healing work on for some years now. So I think it was about time that I got some clarity on all of this. And this clarity that dropped in was that I, so, I don't know, I think I just had this kind of like series of flashback moments where I saw myself in conversations with various ex boyfriends over the years. And I suddenly realized that I had felt the need to tell all of these ex boyfriends, whoever my boyfriend was at the time, of everything that I'd achieved, whether it was on the first date, whether it was in response to, hey, how are you? Or how was your day? And then the poor guy receives this soliloquy, this monologue of all the things I've achieved that day or that week or whatever. And right there in front of the kettle, I realized what had been going on, what these guys had been on the receiving end of, what I had felt compelled to deliver to them in a normal conversation. It was that I needed to feel valued and I needed to feel loved. And the way that I thought I would get that was if they applauded my so called achievements. Now, having realized this and got this kind of clarity, it's not the case, unfortunately, that now I logically know what's been going on and I found how that shows up in at least romantic relationships for me. It doesn't follow that suddenly I'm cured. Huh. And this kind of thing's never going to happen again, because when something is as deep rooted and deep seated as my need for approval, then, and this ties in with perfectionism as well. If I'm perfect, then I'll be loved. If I'm perfect, I'll feel worthy. Then it's not something that disappears immediately and over time. It's something that I have to keep working on. And if you're going through something similar, or you have your similar aha moment and you realize that you're going through something similar, it is something that we have to keep working on consciously and with awareness. So, with that, here's something that you can try if you're feeling ready to do, because this is not easy work. It's really uncomfortable stuff, this. So, if you're feeling okay with it, have a think, ask yourself, as regards your negative self talk, is there an unmet need that is somehow related to that negative self talk or self view? So for me, my unmet need was the need for parental love, and that came through needing to prove how great I was. So is there something happening that's similar for you? And if you're not quite ready to take that step yet, if it's just still a little bit too uncomfortable, then the question to ask yourself is that if you were to speak to yourself with a kinder, more grounded and evidence based voice, what would that voice say? And even if you've done the more uncomfortable bit and you've gone into that uncomfortability, then use that second question anyway, because that does actually help. Well, it helps me to get back out and be a bit more self compassionate. So, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I help people with. And if you're interested in doing more work with me on this on a one to one basis, then please feel free to reach out using the information below. You'll also find more information in the description. There's a link to a free confidence guide, and there's a link to my more in depth 8 module course. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.